What if Hollywood's biggest killer isn't failure but alcohol? Alcoholism isn't a harmless vice, it's a ruthless disease that ruins careers, shatters lives, and kills without warning. So why did they choose the bottle over everything? These are the harsh, unsettling stories of stars who lost it all to alcohol. Join us as we examine the terrible tales of Hollywood stars who gave themselves to the deadly grip of alcoholism. William Claude Dukenfield, the man who feared water more than whiskey. I never drink water. I'm afraid it might become a habit. That wasn't just a joke, it was practically a lifestyle. In an industry built on punchlines, Fields may have delivered his greatest one off screen, with a glass permanently in hand. Known as a master of sarcasm, he wasn't just funny, he was relentlessly committed to drinking like it was a full-time profession. Martinis were his go-to, but Fields didn't discriminate. Rye, bourbon, scotch, red wine, even rum and coke if it had alcohol, it had his attention. Those who worked around him estimated he could go through nearly 2 quarts of alcohol a day. That's not a drink, that's a schedule. Raised above a bar during Prohibition, Fields treated alcohol less like a vice and more like a birthright. And when the government tried to ban it, he simply planned ahead. Long after Prohibition ended, he kept thousands of bottles of gin and whiskey stashed away just in case someone got the bright idea to take it all away again. But the real legend? His flask. Always filled with dry martinis, he'd casually refer to it as pineapple juice or lemonade. And when someone once swapped it with actual lemonade, Fields reportedly snapped, "Who put lemonade in my lemonade?" A line so perfect it could have been scripted, but wasn't. Behind the laughs, however, was a man whose wit masked something darker. Because when the joke never ends, neither does the habit. William Franklin Holden, a star who slowly disappeared behind the bottle. William Holden was one of the most prominent American actors of the 1950s, a leading box office name and a symbol of classic Hollywood success. Handsome and talented, he stood among the biggest stars of his time. However, behind that success, he struggled with alcoholism for much of his life. As the 1960s arrived, a younger generation of actors such as Paul Newman and Steve McQueen began to dominate the industry. During this period, Holden's drinking grew heavier, and the effects became increasingly visible. His career gradually declined, and alcohol began to take a serious toll on both his personal life and health. By 1981, after moving to Santa Monica, California, the situation had worsened. Holden was known as a quiet and highly private man. He often disappeared for days without explanation, making it difficult for anyone to keep track of him or check on his well-being. Concern eventually arose when he had not been seen or heard from for several days. It took nearly a full week before building management decided to enter his apartment. What they found was deeply tragic rooms filled with empty vodka and beer bottles, clear evidence of prolonged isolation and heavy drinking. William Holden had already been dead for at least 4 days. His story stands as a stark reminder that even the most successful figures in Hollywood can quietly fall victim to addiction, far from the spotlight that once defined them. John Barrymore, a brilliant talent undone by his own demons. John Barrymore captivated audiences with his commanding presence on stage and screen, becoming one of the most important figures in the legendary Barrymore family. A dynasty marked by both fame and scandal. From public brawls to substance abuse, the family's history was as turbulent as it was celebrated. Yet, among them all, Barrymore stood out as both the most gifted and the most troubled. His battle with alcoholism began early and never truly loosened its grip. By the 1930s, his drinking had grown so severe that major film studios began to blacklist him. He often portrayed sympathetic alcoholics on screen roles that mirrored his own unraveling life. As his addiction worsened, so did its effects. His memory began to fail him, forcing him to rely on cue cards just to complete his performances. The once commanding actor who had dominated the stage was now struggling to remember his own lines. Barrymore's long decline reached its final chapter in 1942. At the age of 60, he died from complications related to chronic edema, kidney failure, and cirrhosis conditions tied closely to years of heavy drinking. His passing marked the end of an era. Despite his tragic downfall, John Barrymore remains a towering figure in film and theater history, remembered not only for his extraordinary talent, but also for the devastating cost of his addiction. Rita Hayworth, the Hollywood icon who couldn't escape her own struggles. Rita Hayworth, born Margarita Carmen Cancino, was one of the most captivating actresses of the 1940s. With her striking red hair and magnetic screen presence, she became a symbol of glamour and elegance. Unforgettable in some of Hollywood's most iconic films. Yet behind that dazzling image was a quiet battle. Despite her fame, Hayworth turned to alcohol as a way to cope with stress. What began as a simple escape gradually grew into a serious addiction. By the 1950s, her drinking had intensified to the point that it caused major health problems and forced her to withdraw from several film projects. As the years passed, her condition worsened. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, alcoholism took a heavy toll, leaving her physically weakened and increasingly dependent on those around her, particularly her husband. Adding to her struggles, Hayworth was later diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a condition that further diminished her quality of life and overshadowed her final years. In 1987, Rita Hayworth passed away, leaving behind a legacy of beauty and talent, one forever marked by the hidden cost of addiction and illness. I hope you enjoyed this video and are wondering who's next. I'll reveal it shortly, but before that, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more great videos like this. Errol Flynn, a life of excess that ended too soon. I like my whiskey old and my women young. For Errol Flynn, this wasn't just a clever remark, it was a reflection of how he chose to live. Known for his iconic roles in Captain Blood and Robin Hood, Flynn embodied courage and charisma on screen. He was the very image of a Hollywood hero. Yet away from the cameras, his life followed a far more reckless path. Flynn became widely known for his extravagant lifestyle, driven as much by indulgence as by fame. His Malibu residence, which he famously called Sodom by the Sea, became a symbol of excess. There, along with actor David Niven, he hosted gatherings defined by heavy drinking and constant celebration. Parties extended to private yachts, where alcohol flowed freely and restraint was virtually non-existent. These moments, often retold as legends, revealed a man living without limits. By his 30s, the consequences of that lifestyle had already begun to emerge. His health showed clear signs of decline, yet he made no effort to change course. Even as his body weakened, Flynn continued to embrace the same habits, ignoring the warning signs that were becoming increasingly difficult to overlook. Over time, years of excessive drinking took a severe toll. Combined with obesity and cirrhosis, his condition deteriorated rapidly. In the end, Errol Flynn died of a heart attack at the age of 50. His story stands as a sobering reminder that a life built on excess carries its own cost. Fame and success may delay the consequences, but they cannot prevent them. In Flynn's case, the price was paid in full and far too early. Lon Chaney Jr., the monster on screen who battled one within. Lon Chaney Jr., born Creighton Toole Chaney, was a well-known American actor, best remembered for his powerful performances in classic horror films. His role in The Wolfman made him a legend in the genre, earning him lasting recognition and a place in Hollywood history. However, behind that success was a life marked by struggle. During the 1950s and 60s, Chaney battled severe alcoholism that deeply affected both his personal life and career. The early loss of his parents, constant work pressures, and a series of failed marriages all contributed to his reliance on alcohol as a way to cope. As his addiction worsened, it led to repeated hospitalizations and even arrests, further damaging his health and professional reputation. Despite these setbacks, Chaney continued working, determined to maintain his place in the industry. In the later years of his life, he appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, where he claimed his weakened voice was due to years of growling at children during Halloween appearances. In reality, he was suffering from throat cancer. Even in the face of illness and addiction, Lon Chaney Jr. made efforts to overcome his struggles and continued performing until the end. He passed away in 1973, leaving behind a legacy shaped by both his talent and the hardships he endured. Barbara Payton, a meteoric rise followed by a devastating fall. Barbara Payton was an American actress whose life became a striking example of how quickly fame can turn into ruin. She began as a young woman from a small-town background and rose rapidly in Hollywood, capturing attention with her beauty and talent. At her peak, she shared the screen with major stars such as Gregory Peck, James Cagney, and Gary Cooper. While her public image reflected success, her private life was steadily falling apart. Payton found herself battling the misuse of prohibited substances, along with a deepening dependence on alcohol, while her personal world grew more and more unstable. Turbulent relationships, legal issues, and addiction came to define her life away from the spotlight. Among these, alcohol became a persistent presence, creating an illusion of control in the midst of an increasingly chaotic reality. By the 1960s, her drinking had worsened significantly. The consequences were severe. She lost custody of her son, and her career collapsed entirely. Once a rising star, she found herself drifting through life, involved in public scandals that only deepened her decline. At one point, she was reportedly seen sleeping at a bus stop, wearing nothing more than a coat and a bathing suit, a stark image of how far she had fallen. Barbara Payton's life came to a tragic end at the age of 39, when she died from liver and heart disease. Her story stands as a harsh reminder of how quickly success can disappear when addiction takes hold and how unforgiving that fall can be. Yootha Joyce, a television star consumed by her own success. Yootha Joyce, a respected English actress known for her work in television, gained widespread recognition through her role in George and Mildred. Her strong presence and memorable performances made her a familiar face to audiences and secured her place in British entertainment. Yet behind that success was a quiet and dangerous struggle. For nearly 10 years, Joyce drank up to half a bottle of brandy each day. What may have started as a way to cope gradually became a serious addiction, slowly damaging her liver and overall health. Despite her condition, she continued to work and remained committed to her career. Her final appearance was in the full-length film adaptation of George and Mildred in 1980. However, by then, her health had already declined significantly. In the summer of that year, growing concerns led to her hospitalization. Just 4 days after her 53rd birthday, Yootha Joyce passed away on August 24, 1980, due to liver failure. Her story is a powerful reminder that even success and recognition cannot protect someone from the consequences of addiction. If her story touched you, please leave the number 8 below to show your appreciation for her. Let's come together as a community, not just to remember her, but to raise awareness about the dangers of addiction and support those who may be silently struggling today. Kevin Lloyd, a promising career lost to addiction. Kevin Lloyd was a well-known British actor who built his reputation through a number of television roles, most notably as Detective Toshlines in the ITV series The Bill. He was respected by audiences and colleagues alike, and for a time, his future in the industry seemed secure. Away from the spotlight, Lloyd was confronting a severe struggle with alcohol. His drinking gradually spiraled out of control, affecting his ability to work. He began forgetting his lines, arriving late or not at all, and his behavior became increasingly unreliable. Despite his talent, the situation became impossible to ignore. Eventually, he was dismissed from the show, a turning point that marked the beginning of his final downward spiral. In an effort to recover, Lloyd checked himself into a rehabilitation center. It appeared to be a chance to regain control of his life. But addiction is not easily overcome. On May 2, 1998, tragedy unfolded. Lloyd returned to the clinic intoxicated, having consumed alcohol at a level far beyond the legal limit, reportedly 3 times higher. In that vulnerable state, he choked on his own vomit and died at the Dove Clinic in Staffordshire. He was only 49 years old. His story is not just tragic, it is a warning. Addiction does not negotiate, and it does not forgive. Let it be a reminder to look out for those around you, and to take action before it's too late. Michael Elphick, a respected actor overtaken by addiction. Michael Elphick was a well-known English actor who built a solid career across both television and film. He became widely recognized for his role as Harry Slater in the BBC series EastEnders, as well as for playing the title character in the ITV drama Boone. With his distinctive presence and strong performances, he earned a reputation as a reliable and talented actor. Beneath the surface of his achievements, Elphick was fighting a severe dependence on alcohol. He openly admitted to consuming extremely large amounts, reportedly up to 2 liters a day. Over time, his addiction deepened, and his way of life grew increasingly unstable. Besides alcohol, he was also involved in the use of illegal substances, including cocaine. One alarming incident highlighted the extent of his condition. While under the influence, Elphick reportedly armed himself with a shotgun and chased a group of individuals following a carjacking near his villa in Portugal. This moment reflected just how far his behavior had spiraled beyond control. Despite his continued work in the industry, the damage to his health was severe. Years of heavy drinking took a lasting toll on his body. On September 7, 2002, Michael Elphick passed away from a heart attack. His story serves as a sobering example of how addiction can quietly escalate, eventually overwhelming even those who appear successful and in control. Richard Burton, a legendary voice overshadowed by a lifelong addiction. Richard Burton, the celebrated Welsh actor known for his powerful performances and commanding presence, began drinking at an alarmingly young age, just 12 years old. Even he once admitted, with unsettling honesty, that while he wasn't certain he was an alcoholic, he was dangerously close. He understood the truth clearly. Alcoholism was no joke, but a serious and destructive disease. Burton earned critical acclaim and an Academy Award nomination for his role in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, where he portrayed a heavy-drinking college professor, a role that closely mirrored his own reality. Off-screen, his relationship with alcohol was long-standing and deeply ingrained, continuing unchecked for decades. By the 1970s, his drinking had escalated to extreme levels. Reports suggested he was consuming 2 to 3 bottles of vodka each day. His physical condition deteriorated significantly, to the point where he struggled to stand or maintain balance. Directors were forced to film him while seated or lying down, adapting to his declining health. In 1974, after completing The Klansman, Burton recognized the severity of his situation and entered a recovery center in an attempt to change. However, by then, the damage had already been done. His body had suffered greatly, with kidney disease and liver cirrhosis taking hold. Richard Burton passed away in 1984 at the age of 58. His life remains a powerful example of how even extraordinary talent and self-awareness are not always enough to overcome the grip of addiction once it has taken hold. Matthew Perry, a star who fought addiction but couldn't escape it. Matthew Perry, best known for his iconic role in Friends, began his struggle with alcohol at a very young age, just 14 years old. What started early would follow him throughout his life. After a jet ski accident, he was prescribed painkillers, which quickly led to a deeper dependency on drugs and alcohol. At the height of his fame, while millions laughed at his performances, Perry was quietly fighting a losing battle. His addiction cost him millions of dollars, sent him through multiple stints in rehabilitation, and even robbed him of memories from filming some of the most beloved episodes of his career. Despite these struggles, Perry made serious efforts to turn his life around. He eventually regained some control and became an advocate for recovery, helping others who were facing the same fight. He once described himself as someone always on the edge of addiction, aware of it, yet never fully free from it. In the end, that battle proved relentless. Matthew Perry was found dead at the age of 54 in his Los Angeles home, in what appeared to be a drowning. His story is both inspiring and heartbreaking, a reminder that even those who fight the hardest battles don't always win, and that addiction remains a powerful force that demands constant vigilance. We tend to think celebrities have it all: fame, money, endless applause. So why do so many of them end up at the bottom of a bottle? The truth is, behind the spotlight, they face the same fears, pressures, and struggles as anyone else, sometimes even more. Success can come fast and hit even harder. So what do you think? Was it the fame, the pressure, or the choices they made? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story opened your eyes, don't forget to like and subscribe, because sometimes the real drama happens off screen.